So good afternoon, girls. Nice to see you again. Bring some tea, just to have something to drink, not to fall asleep. Siesta time is terrible for me, so I also need to be drinking something. And that's why I give you this piece of advice. So in housekeeping, and girls always remember to check everything on Educandos and the materials for the tasks, readings. If we have readings, will be there. Forums will not occur every week, and you have seen already in the lesson plan that there are certain weeks in which we have forum. We will start this week. There will be a rubric, which I have been translating. I will show you. Just because all of the practicum modules have the same, we follow the same rubric. So that's why those modules in Spanish have it in Spanish, and I have to finish translating. But you will see it's very similar to what we have already been doing. You have to write a posting that refers to the topic we're dealing with and answer to your classmates. Remember, comment to your classmates. So it's very similar. We will see in a minute. And there will be like 3 or 4 depending on the unit. I think it's on different topics. It will not be every week, but of course you will have information when we have forum. And this week we have a forum, and we will discuss the posting there. Okay, portfolio, of course, portfolio, keep it updated, please. Upload for those who are getting to the class. Remember, on Educandos, you will have a task created for formative assessment so that I can see you're working and if tasks are complete or not. Remember, complete all of the sections, develop the sections completely as we do for introduction to research methodology. Pay attention to every section, to developing all the topics. So it follows the same rationale. And for those that are just arriving, there will be an opportunity to present the Pitacora by midterm. Midterm will be around week 9, which I think is the second week of May, something like that, in 1 more month, around the 10th of May, let us say. By around that time, you will have the opportunity to present your portfolio and have extra credits for the final stage. Yes, for a final portfolio document. Last semester was crazy. I had more than 40 portfolios arriving all together by 28th of December. It was crazy. So I really think I will divide my correction time and do it more conscientiously and with more time. So it will be also a good stimulus, no? Talking about behaviorism, good stimulus for you to have the portfolio ready. And don't wait till the 14th of July when everything is finishing. So we will be having that feedback before, a little bit of feedback before. Okay, English practicum, our bread and butter. Of course, in this module, as you know, there is a little bit of practicum. Of course, it's part of our module, but also we have some tasks, some readings, we have some theory to cover. And it is really a very demanding module, as you have seen from the first day we were discussing this. We have to accomplish lots and lots of learning outcomes. And therefore, we have to work towards becoming those professional teachers that we are supposed to become. So that's what we're working towards. And I think the most exciting section has been the English practicum so far. And of course, what does it mean? What does the picture tell you? Why did I choose this? This photo or this picture? Girls, are you there?
Maybe because in the English practicum, we need use the camera and see to another person, to the other person that are in a meeting for know what happened inside of the I don't know.
So we have online classes, but not you as students, but you as teachers, co-teachers, future teachers, and pre-service teachers. But also from that viewpoint, it's a new experience. It's the first time. This is the very first time. You're the first ones. So imagine how demanding and how stressful it has been because of the situation, because of this exact situation of this challenge of online classes or distant remote classes of some kind, in a situation in which we do not have connection, the right connection in many cases. And so it has been really, really stressful in that at a point, but rewarding, because I think I have seen how the different groups have evolved. But now you are going to tell me your experiences. First of all, you have received this schedule, which is very big, but probably we can enlarge these ones a little bit more on Tuesday and Wednesdays. And the idea is that you complete with the activities you perform in your 4 hours. So every week you will have a report, there's a weekly report of everything you have done. So today after class, what you have to include what you have done. Javiera, for example. Javiera, what have you done this week? So I think it was Wednesday. Javiera Garcia.
Create a video.
Video, so so it is which teaching materials, yes?
Yes.
Preparation, excellent. So Javiera.
Preparation of video.
Yeah, so Javiera and Araceli have been preparing materials. And many of you, for example, yes, Araceli and Javiera, exactly, that situation, their example. So they also met with a link online to prepare this work. Yes, and therefore, if they establish they will start 8:30 on Wednesday, yes, so you will copy this here and you will add the link. Sorry. And with that link, yes, it will help me and also the teacher they're working with to know their meeting. We can also be invited to the meeting. Of course, I will ask you for permission so that we can exchange ideas and see how you're working. Okay, so this will make my job better organized. If I have to get up at 5 o'clock, it doesn't matter. I wake up at 5 o'clock. If you meet at 5 o'clock, it's okay. The point is that we know what you're doing, yes, and how we can support you. Yes, so all of the modules in Practicum will do the same. Okay, so, and for example, Javiera Labraña's timetable looks a little bit different. So because she does other activities, not because one activity is more important than the other, but of course, you have different activities. And so Javiera and Araceli also have coordination with the mentor teacher. They took a lot to their teacher, to the mentor teacher. And therefore, they dedicate time to this. Yes, because the mentor teacher takes care that he plans the activities and guides them. Oh my gosh, towards these activities. Okay, so with Javiera Labrañas, looks a little bit different. She has on Tuesday, what do you have, Javiera, for example? Oh, today is not my day with the slide. So she has another one. Which one, Javiera? On Tuesday? What do you do?
Miss, I can understand.
Okay, yes, Javiera, that you tell me, what do you do on Tuesday? Which of these activities, so you can place it here? Which of these activities? Virtual classes?
Virtual tutoring with elementary school students.
Yes,
Include
but there is a difference. There is a difference. Check. Virtual classes. Or you did intervention at the moment. Look, you have all of the options.
I can help you. I can help too. I don't know. Javiera, and Wednesday in the morning, she can have a little intervention because she was a monitor of activities.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. We need some a little bit of cake. So we make some correction. Okay, bring some dessert. So we can eat something, girls. I also don't connect much on Friday afternoon, but look at the differences. So we have virtual classes. When will you be doing virtual classes? Now that we think about it. ¿Cuándo sería una virtual class?
When we haven't intervention or we haven't activity to develop or generate new material to the students.
Yes,
Maybe.
exactly. But that's when you are in charge. Yes, okay. Liselda wants to participate. Okay, Liselda. Yes, Liselda.
Miss, and when we were just watching the class or looking the class, but without any intervention, we have to write just virtual classes.
Virtual class, yes, that would be, yes, we will need observation. Virtual class observation. So it will be flexible. You can write here, I will include this. Virtual class or virtual class observation, because virtual class is when you will be producing your own materials and organizing your class with your classmates, yes? So tutoring will be more nearer to having, for example, one or two children work with you. And you're right, so Liselda is right, we need another block to indicate virtual classes observation, which is something you have been doing. Some of you have been intervening at one moment, for example, only, so it's a green one. So I will create another one for the ones that have been observing only.
Yes, Miss.
Yes. And then
we never made an intervention.
Not yet, exactly, not yet. Exactly. So you are all at different levels, yes, or different processes, but all of you will eventually, or most of you, develop all of these activities. Anyway, those that do not have the option of virtual classes, do not despair. We know that the situations at schools are not the same, are not comparable. Each school has a complete different situation. Believe me, it's amazing the difference. Being all in the same area, they are all different. But think, for example, that those that do not have a direct intervention or virtual classes are really creating materials that are so interactive and receive response from students that is also as valuable as having the students in the class responding to direct interventions. So you will tell about the experiences in a minute. Okay, so every week, this can look the same, yes, coordination with mentor teacher and teaching materials preparation, or you can change the order, yes, or probably this will be an evolution, and after doing teaching materials, you will have probably to feedback. So I will create another block in which involves giving feedback to materials that students answer or respond to your materials. And this will be changing eventually along the weeks. Okay, so you can either include colors or write on your own, and it is my responsibility to create 2 more blocks, one about observation and another one about feedback, and resend this to you. This is your own data. Yes, your supervisor, your mentor teacher, school, and you have all of this information in the emails I have sent you.
Miss?
Yes.
And what is the difference in teaching materials preparation and intervention?
Yes, so this is intervention is the little intervention you have made. For example, you prepared a little activity or some material and you show that to the students, but it's not a complete class. Yes, so they are a little bit different. Yes, and here you have been preparing material, but probably not a complete class, which includes planning and all of the materials for the different moments. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so more coming, and that's my my responsibility. So that will come later. Okay, I will complete that and send you later this afternoon. Okay, so that regards the weekly report. And as we have said before, experiences are completely different. Yes, and in general reflection, each pair can express their own experiences, how this work with mentor teachers has been. If you want to share what you have been doing, everything is very interesting, very different. But we need to understand that also our lives in the future with different settings will be different. And it will not be useful for us to compare, oh, my college classmate is working in the school in Providencia and I am working here in Longaví. No, it's not, there's not a way, there's never comparable, it is never comparable. We have to value our own experience and take all of them and take the best of them because they are all really very good experiences for our learning process. So the first ones who want to participate, like who have not spoken, so Lucelda or and they are really different. Alejandra, would you like to tell your experience?
With
so far.
Okay, it's not was very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, our experience with Eileen, we don't have much communication with the mentor teachers. First was one teacher and then was another teacher. So
yes,
that was our experience. No, it's not.
Okay, but nevertheless,
much better.
You have been productive, nevertheless, and there will be opportunities for us to rearrange. So the situation of Alejandra and Eileen is very special. That can happen to you a lot. This is a school who's really deprived and is not allowing the teachers not even to send materials to the students. So it's a very special situation. I was never thinking of finding something like this, a school that is completely shut in an area in which they have restrictions, but schools are not shut. They decided to do that. And so that can happen to you also when you're working and work with school authorities that decide to close the school, and therefore you have to accept the situation. And so that can happen. So there's not much communication, it's true. Nevertheless, they have been productive. Alejandra, do you want to tell your classmates what you have been doing? Nevertheless, even with everything against, no help, no planification, no school, no connection with anyone. Nevertheless, Eileen and Alejandra produced something. Would you like to tell us?
Yes, and that's a video tutorial.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly.
Teaching the common colors, and then we do an activity.
Exactly. So nevertheless, with everything against, they have been creative and productive, and the written activity, a coloring activity. So this is an example for you to know that there is always a way if there is an objective. And the teacher promised he was going to send via WhatsApp this video so that students could do something with English. And in those situations is when you really understand how much you can help, how necessary it is that teachers with great vocation think of those situations, because you're not always going to be in the best of situations, in the best of conditions, in the best school in Vitacura, English bilingual, English, Spanish bilingual, but you might be in a school in which there's no internet connection, they are in the middle of the mountains, the authorities decide to close it and not keep channels of communication open. So this is a situation you still need to think. You're still teachers, and you still need to react positively, even with the worst of scenarios. Okay, teaching the common colors, things, and a worksheet. All right, worksheet. Okay, nevertheless. Okay, so that's a learning experience for all of us. And that's the reflection that I wanted you to be able to develop. Anyone? Now, next one, Daniela. How about you? Daniela and Camila.
Teacher, here.
Yeah, yeah, Daniela. I listen to you.
Sorry, teacher.
Yes.
I'm running.
Okay, don't worry.
Because I go to the bathroom.
Yes, okay, no problem. How has your experience been with the practicum?
Well, talk me. Like Alejandra and Eileen, we don't have a lot of communication with the teacher.
No.
But the Thursday, we make our first intervention in the class. And this.
Yes, so your intervention in the class. So it's also a reciprocal idea. Yes, it's offering and receiving. So imagine that these teachers who are really working in very extreme situations of disconnection, lack of communication. This is a school that's really in the mountains. They don't have good connection. And the teacher does not have any experience on how to work with assistants or with students, pre-service teachers in practicum. Therefore, it was a little bit of mutual feedback and trying to connect to him so that he will also connect with the activity and be proactive in thinking how the girls can be helpful. And he has been responding to this. So it's also the situation in which we also give back some kind of guidance to the mentor teachers, because they have never done this and they feel the limitations are bigger than they are. So they had a first intervention in class. They have seen students in action. And how did you see? How did you feel in that situation?
Very good. I thought the student don't turn off the camera, but all children tenían la cámara prendida.
They had, yes.
Yeah,
Why
so
do
this is,
why
I feel
do you
very
think
good.
that occurs? Why are children like this? Or why are adults the opposite? We can say. Yes, children are not afraid of cameras, and they live in a world of much more exposure than the one we have lived. That's for sure. And they're accustomed to taking photos, seeing themselves in TikTok, and a more common means of communication. Yes, exactly. And so they are younger generations, and they're not afraid of showing themselves or saying something. They're not afraid of that. So you see how much value there is in contacting with children when you see their spontaneity and their willingness and motivation to participate. So that's a great source of energy for all of us who have been probably more afraid of showing ourselves and speaking our and saying something, yes, and speaking about what we think. And so children do not have these problems that adults have, and therefore think of how much I can learn as well, just because they are so positive and so open. And this is something we are beginning to see in these classes. Okay, so it has been, all in all, it is an experience in development. So I think it has been positive, and we have to continue this partnership, trying to learn one from the other. Okay, another one, another pair, Araceli.
Yes, teacher. Our experience is very good because we have very good communication with our mentor teacher.
Yes.
Yes.
Because we talk muchas veces with he.
You talk a lot with him, yes?
Yes.
Many occasions. A very good communication. So imagine.
Yes, we do many videos for children.
You make videos.
Also,
Yes.
also the
YouTubers
teachers
already.
send. Yes. Also the teachers send the videos.
Yes. So later you will prepare a kind of presentation with the materials you're creating, because they're all different, creative, but of different kinds, of very different kinds. And Araceli and Javier are really becoming famous as YouTubers. And that's another way. So how could have we imagined 2 weeks ago that situations were going to be like this? I couldn't have imagined in my whole life. But as you see, life offers us opportunities that we have to take advantage of, and every situation is different and is good in its own right. So I know Camila and Daniela were not having a nice week last week, but things improved. So we have to see the glass full and not the glass empty or those situations in which we felt miscommunication, lack of communication was going to ruin everything. Yes, that's not the situation. Okay, so they make videos and something important, they receive
Yes, the videos.
videos from
children.
students.
Yes.
Yes,
It's
the
great.
student.
No, that's
It's
impressive.
beautiful.
That's
Really.
another
Children.
experience. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but that will you will share with you will have your time to share your presentations, and I think that is why I was not expecting this either, and that is why I say no. I have to create another blog because you will need to also communicate with those children and give them feedback. The same as you communicate with me, I see the videos and I give you feedback. So imagine, yes, you are in the shoes of teachers. That's great. Great experience. And it has a life on its own. Yes, these experiences are developing and taking life and going a path that sometimes we do not know. Yes, we cannot predict, and that's great. I love the unexpected. Okay, the other two groups have mentor teachers who are top of the tops in mentoring. I think they're great mentor teachers, just because of experience or just because of character, but that's something we also cannot choose. Yes, and sometimes you will find that working with some people at school and school directors, for example, principals, are great leaders and great principals, and others are just lousy, awful. I do not know. They lack leadership, or they lack a clear way. And this is also something you're not going to choose. And you have to work with people who are really skillful at that, and others that, like this other teacher we were talking to, we need to support a little bit. And that is all right. That's life. And we need to adapt. So these other two mentor teachers of the other two groups are great just because of, as I say, personal experience or personal character. And they are real support for our job. But that does not mean in itself that the experience is better, but just that the experience is different. And you will see that this evolves, as we said, and that you will be able to meet people in the educational institutions that are of different kinds. Okay, so who would like to start? Iselda? Of Genesis, are you here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Miss.
What would you like to
Do you want that we share our experience?
Yes.
Genesis.
Yes, Penny.
I think that the communication with a mentor teacher it's not really good because sometimes she say something and then she say another thing and I don't know, it's very confused for us.
Yes,
and also I don't
because
know,
of changes,
I don't
yes.
feel really good.
Okay, Genesis, but we have talked that it's not because she's not a good mentor teacher. It is because changes occur in the reality of schools. Sometimes make things go different ways. And this is what has happened at this school specifically. They have had to change just because of the restrictions. And changes occur that are outside our control. Also, a little bit of what happened to Alejandro and Eileen, we could not control, and that's what the teacher told us. That's out of our control. And so this can be the situation, but it's not a negative situation again. They have a task to accomplish, and I think that you have had the organization the time to do it. Or what do you think, Lisela?
I would like to put focus on the students. They well, there are a little of everything. There is a student called Miguel, and he's always talking and saying whatever he wants. And also we have Cristobal, and he's so smart, and he has an answer to everything, and I like to listen them.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
that's the only thing that
That's
that
valuable.
give me energy to wake up in the morning.
Yes, of course. So the contact with children is great. As I said, they're a source of energy in themselves. And those students you will find also sitting down in front of you, those who are always connected, those who are always disconnected. So that is reality. And the challenge of having to communicate with all of them is great. So yes, the contact with children is great. And you need to focus on that, on what is positive and what you can really learn. So it's not that the mentor teacher is bad at communicating. Maybe she's too anxious as well. But we have to manage that communication. It's a receiving and giving, yes, and organizing a little bit the communication. But it's not bad mentoring, it's probably lack of experience, but she has good disposition and good character. So I think we need to take advantage of those good traits, and that she has good communication because she is connected a lot, and we can improve this. But it's also a question of time. Yeah.
And also, we know that she has the ability to recognize that she forget many things. So
Yeah.
she's not like, I did it. No, she say, oh, I forget.
Yeah.
So that's a good point. And
Exactly.
we have this week we have to do the first job,
Yeah.
but we will not make an intervention. It's just she will use the materials, but we will not present the materials.
The material. Okay. Okay. But that's one step at a time. But it's
Uh-huh.
already that you're involved in the work. Yes, and in the process. So it is a good experience. I think we are all learning, and the means of communication and the communication strategies need to be improved, but that is something that will happen with time. So positive thinking, positive vibes, and we have to take what is good in people and what they really have to offer that help us grow. So this is something good to pay attention to. Also, I wanted to color this to have more more space to write. Okay, so finally, the last one, the last group, last but not least, Barbara, Javiera, and Lucas.
Look, I can start.
Yeah, yes, yes. Teacher Lucas, what do you think? It is brief. Communication, activities you have been doing.
Yes, Javi, someone
Mm-hmm.
wanting
Me.
Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm. You.
Okay. We have a good experience.
Mm-hmm.
I like it so much because we have 2 grades, 5 grade and 6.
Mm-hmm. 2 grades.
So yes, and I don't know. I think that is awesome. We have a interview with the students. I don't know. The teacher says, "Okay, Barbara, you need to explain this slide. Barbara, you need to explain." O sea, sorry, Javiera and Lucas. So we have, no sé cómo se dice, nuestro espacio.
Yes, exactly. Yes, yes, and a space for intervention, for a short intervention.
Yes. So
Yes.
I don't know, I really like it.
Yes, and you have a space to participate and intervene. And we have to mention that this teacher also has previous experiences in mentoring. So as I said, it's something you learn, you develop how to do. And he's a real supportive teacher just because he has had this experience before, and he really likes teaching and mentoring. But as I said, we're going to find different kinds of people. Of course, you will be happy if you have a jefe de UTP like his, or a school principal like this teacher. You will be lucky, but that will be one in many. Yeah. And that is also a process of learning how to deal with different kinds of teachers, different styles, and different leaderships. So have a space for intervention, and space for intervention and reflection. So that is, I think, a good experience. All of them are good in different ways. And whenever you do your reflections in portfolios, you will also have to add all of these, not so much objectivity, as we spoke yesterday, is more subjective, but always trying to focus on what we learned, what we would do better, and how would we take advantage of the experience. So always try to see the glass, the full glass, el vaso medio lleno, and not the empty side of the glass, no lo que está vacío. So anything else you would like? So this is in development. The case of Alejandra and Eileen has already been worked with. We are going to have a meeting with another teacher, and therefore they will have, we will have another teacher to work with, and another school which is in better conditions. And so the situations have been will improve, so that you all have a, it's not uniform, completely uniform, but it is as egalitarian as possible. So anything else you want to add? Let me. Okay. Anything? So just our reflections, or just a description, a quick description, and think. How would you like to expose or talk about this next week when we do the reflection, how it has improved? What did you learn from these experiences? So is that okay? Anyone has something to say that we haven't said yet? No? Are you okay?
Yes, miss.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
Javiera said everything that that
You wanted
I feel too, because I feel
yeah.
comfortable, and I appreciate that the teacher give us the moment for reflect about the work. Yes, work of the teacher inside of the class. He is so no, a little bit espontáneo, but is
very.
This is the this is the work for connect to the children's now. He make jokes and try to be close to their students, and I feel a little bit no, it's the wrong word, but it's a little similar to that I feel. I feel that a little bit admiration, because she said he said the mega mistake is it's no it's natural, but
yeah,
it's
part of learning.
but part of yeah. And this is all.
Yes, children are spontaneous as well and motivated. Yes, so topics that we need to deal with. Yes, motivation on the one hand, and of course, errors and their importance in mistakes and errors in the importance of learning. So those are also topics included, and also to think, also to reflect. And here comes a critical issue because we have been reading this in different, the experience is also different in reading this. Alejandra, on Tuesday, we needed to start reading this just because of the situation with this school. And also another moment of reflection and learning. So how, and also something develops from this and the classes and the English classes that I want you to tell me what you have been observing and doing, and even in the different experiences. And I wanted to tell me if you have had the opportunity to read and analyze, or I don't know, analyze or look at different areas with more attention. Alejandra did, well, I had done before. Also, Aracelis and Javiera's teacher paid a lot of attention to this. Also, Barbara, Javiera's, and Lucas.
I think that is my opinion. The document is very clear. Yes, I haven't to read it and take a look for doing a video. So I think that is very clear.
It is, it's very clear. And it was also written for teachers, as you see, for their plans, for their lesson plans. And the situation is that the teacher, Alejandra's and Eileen's teacher, did not have a lesson plan. And so we had to solve this situation and jump into the swimming pool and swim. And how is the document useful for those who also teacher Matias or Barbara, Javieras, and Lucas, mentor teacher uses it, and Javiera and Aracelis? How do you think this is useful for this moment?
I think this is useful for this moment because the contain the more important understand of
content.
children.
Yes,
yes.
Most important content and what children need to understand. So Javiera is writing this. It compiles the most important contents, and many teachers have already told us that they needed to reduce the time dedicated to English. So the hours were reduced just because children could not be connected for so long, and they needed some document to help in this reorganization. And the priorization means that what is most important and how this can be developed and carried out so that children can continue learning. And there is something else, Liselda, those who have been working with PPTs, there are extracts. Teachers extract this from some books, I think, and they copy these extracts and paste them on PPTs, presentations. And what have you noticed, Liselda, Genesis? How is this material written? This is another question. The materials the teachers are using in classes. How are they written? Also, Barbara, Javiera. Lucas, I don't know. Everyone is there listening to me. How are the materials written? the teacher's copy.
The purpose curricular propose.
The purpose.
Yeah. A little breath.
Pardon?
Pensé que estaba preguntando por cómo era la propuesta curricular.
¿Cómo son los materiales? ¿Cómo están escritos? Specific question about language. How are they written?
Maybe first begin with the most simple and then the most difficult for the students.
Yes. So that's a logical organization. Yes, first of all, they begin with the easier exercises or explanations, and then they go deeper. But there is something else very striking.
Our teacher write something in English and then write the same thing, but in Spanish.
Yes, so Lucas is, yes, both of you are, yes, you are all right. So they begin with the easier presentation of vocabulary. Remember, I was always reminding you in last year, those that were with me, that you needed to introduce vocabulary to students, make connections between objects and images and vocabulary. But now we have another way of anchoring this is new because also if you have attended schools in the old times, or the school materials we used to use were in English, completely in English. We needed to do the scaffolding by using realia, images, videos, sounds, and everything, and also using the mother tongue, using Spanish. But these materials, what surprised me is that they are already written in Spanish, and let us say on a second stage, written in English. So that made me think that all of this priorización curricular, contents, priorización de la propuesta curricular, was thought all together to be done probably by just parents, people who were not laymen or knowledgeable in English. So that brings about another topic, which is something we saw yesterday in the class, the abstract. One of the abstracts was about this topic. Do you remember? One of the abstracts was about the topic of using, done in Turkey, but it doesn't matter where. What was that study about? Related to English, but also related to, do you remember? You were in class yesterday. Come on.
Daily life?
No, what's related to what? To what the topic we are talking about, how the materials are written. So this is another topic. I told you, yes, this is one topic. Do you remember? We saw this abstract yesterday. It's the use of, do you remember? ¿Nos acordamos, chicos, de ayer, el abstract? Hello? Everyone? Are you there?
Yes, teacher, but I don't remember this.
Okay,
This is
yes.
the last class?
Yes. Yesterday, at the moment, you were working with different abstracts. And this was one of the abstracts. What does it say? Even if we don't remember, we were not at that point in the class. What does it say? We talked about this last class. What is the mother tongue?
Yes, mother tongue.
Yes, the mother tongue.
They use?
Yes, in English classes. So this is a topic that has also been discussed a lot And I know you have been taught that we needed to speak in English, and was one of the questions we had the first classes. And now we see the reality. What does reality tell us? How do teachers teach reality? This is the observation.
To start, no, at start, I don't know, to their language, the mother language with the Spanish, and translate to English. So the teacher tried to don't put at the students in una posición de no vulnerabilidad, sino que incómoda.
Threatening, yes, threatening. It's called threatening. Yes, exactly. So teachers try to offer a non-threatening environment. Remember when we talked about the environment last year? Environment, el ambiente, la creación del ambiente, remember? And the environment, we know that it is physical, but it's also emotional. And now I am doing the same with second year students, trying to make them think which different types of environments we have. And what Barbara says is clear. Teachers try to offer a non-threatening environment to students. And one of the ways of doing this, especially with middle school, yes, around 10, 11, those ages, one of these strategies is to use the mother tongue. And just because that offers them some kind of confidence and extra understanding of what's going on. And therefore, in this situation, in this contingent situation, the mother tongue for our children, the Spanish, has become a very important issue in the classroom. So that's a topic also that appears in the classes, and that is something I am announcing that will be coming, probably because we need to be prepared for what is coming in the future. How are these classes going to develop in the future? Probably we cannot think exactly of the future, but we need to be prepared, yes? The use of the mother tongue in EFL classes is an element of reflection for us. Of the mother tongue. The mother tongue, okay. Of reflection. So keep reflecting. So we have reflected about different things, about prioritization of objectives, about the use of language, and the prioritization is also how to use language and who can do this job. So these documents need to get to parents, yes, older brothers and sisters who will also be able to teach little children and help them the minimum objectives, learning outcomes, yes, and probably not knowing the language. So we are at a situation of extreme, an extreme situation in the world of teaching English, just because, as I said, contingencies oblige us to think differently and adapt to situations. Okay, so keep observing in the classes what else is calls your attention. Very basically from what you see from the teacher, attitudes of teachers and students. Just because all of these are our food for reflection and how we can improve and how do we prepare ourselves better to face the situation of the practicum. So did you all have to think of using Spanish as a great support for the materials? Are all the materials you prepared translated both in Spanish and English? To the groups?
Me, sorry, what is the question? What?
Yes, if your materials you have had to prepare are in both languages, in Spanish and English.
Yes. But I didn't know. I thought no todavía. Still, I don't make anything.
Any materials, but the materials you saw are in both languages. And Javier and Araceli, how about your materials? How about them? How is the use of language?
In the video, your grade for the class, the children use the mother language and English for the children and understand better.
Yes, exactly. And it's for the teacher and the parents, because those children cannot manage all of the knowledge alone. They need their parents to help them. So all of this should be our reflection. So we are at the moment in which we are teaching children, but also remember we need to reach the families who are behind these children and supporting these children. And we need them also to support our work. So all of these are elements of reflection, and we will continue talking about these topics next class. Okay, so that about the prioritization and the main ideas, the objectives that have been prioritized. And in many occasions, you will be yourselves in the situation of solving a problem as Alejandra and Eileen were, and they needed to go to this document and solve the problem. So you really need to think positively and be resourceful and find out the support you need. Okay, so this is a good place to look for help and support. Okay, and so about questions and answers. If you have anything else to say about this topic. So keep thinking, keep reflecting for next Friday for our reflection time. Anything else? Anyone? So, okay, so that was one revision. The next one was communicative language teaching and task 1, which dedicated itself to the topic, of the critical period. And what can you remember of the critical period? Oh, now I have to move all of this. The critical period. What do you remember of this linguistic concept? All right. Okay. This was in the task. What did you read about it? Do you remember you had a video so long? We cannot be disconnected for so long. So we have a video and a reading. Several places to check information. Do you remember this? Please. Hello? Hey, people, are you there? Hello?
Yes, Miss.
We are here.
I don't remember.
You don't remember? You watch you watch the video. Remember there was a video in the task? Do you remember? Task 1, you have to have it. You told me, yes, we did the task, so you have it. So you have task 1, the video, plus you're going to watch it again to give details, yes, and the resources. So there's one resource here that you read about the critical period, yes, and this is in your task, nothing new. All right, and remember you had another resource to ask questions. Do you remember about the questions? This resource I need to add. You remember the resource about questions, comprehension questions? Hello, comprehension questions. We did examples of comprehension questions. Do you remember? As a memory refresher, we are going to check the questions we worked with last class. So as to refresh our memory, we did some examples. So now you will have to think of new questions to ask your classmates about the critical period. Yes, that will be, so these were the questions. Do you remember them? How do you ask about the main idea? So you have a set of questions that ask about the main idea, and you have different ways of asking the question. So for example, you can say, what is the text mainly about? You can have others. Also about supporting details. How do you ask a question about supporting details? Can you explain which conditions? What else can you say? What was the text mainly about? You read about the silent period. What is the most important characteristic of the silent period? So that's a question that supports the main idea. For example, yes. Questions about critical reasoning. And these are questions that will help you think of applications of the topic, for example, conclusions, connections that you can make. And think that now that you will be also preparing materials for children in development, yes, you need to focus on what kind of questions you ask your students. So this is a very valuable exercise. Okay, so do you remember now how we freshen our memories? Oh, Camila. Yes, do you remember?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Now will be your turn to ask questions, difficult questions to your classmates. I know that's so difficult, but just as a practice to think how we can ask good questions to our students, focusing on different topics, on different elements from the reading or some topic, some concept, or for example, details or processes. So as to practice that. So what kind of questions did you think of? Who would like to ask a question? Okay, the first one.
I want to ask something.
Okay, yes. Ask a question.
About the critical period, really?
The critical period, yes.
Okay, I want to know what is the critical period?
So what is the critical period? Yes, so this is a question asking about, what are you asking in this question? What is what are you thinking when you ask this question?
I want to know about the time or the age that we can use the critical period learning English.
Exactly. So what is the critical period? You will be asking for a concept. Yes, it's a main idea. But if you're asking about one area within, we can ask another question that will be a support idea of what is the critical period. So Which ages, this would be a better, which ages does the critical period last? Which ages does the critical period or how long could be also? How long does the critical period last? That'll be also. How long? How long does the critical period last? Okay, so there you're asking specifically about the time, that time span, ese espacio de tiempo que se considera es un periodo crítico para el aprendizaje de la lengua. Yes, those are great questions. Others, so prepare. Who are going to answer just to have extra credits? Come on, a prize, a trip to Europe. Something like that. Okay, more questions. Araceli? Something.
One moment. Maybe about the video?
The video. Yes, about the video.
Why do you think adults learn a new language slower than children?
Yes. All right. Excellent. Why do you think adults learn a language more slowly?
Yes. Than children.
Yes, excellent. More slowly than children. Yes. Why? Yes. Why do you think? Yes, exactly.
Yes, I think because the adults have more. No, the adults thinks very much about how say the new language.
Yes, so they think more on structures.
Yes.
So they have another way of learning. So it might take a longer period of time, but they are successful in their learning. Yes, and they can remember rules. Remember, yes. Children do not cannot remember the rules. Excellent. And answers for the first ones by Genesis. Anyone would like to answer 1 and 2? So Araceli was writing her answer.
Critical period is a period in the life of a person that develop a second language that make acquire the second language that more naturality when is children.
Yes, exactly.
Is the I don't know
so they acquire more naturally. Yes, more naturally when they are children. That is why little children go into a foreign country can learn. Just they go through the silent period. I was confused 2 minutes ago, sorry. But remember the silent period, that period they are catching everything they can from the language and they learn quickly. And also that idea comes from the first language. Yes, the idea that we have a period in which our brain is so flexible that we can develop language. And you will see some research done on that. And how long does the critical period last? There are different kinds of explanations for that. The video says, gives one piece of information, but you can have different, which will be this time span about the critical period. From birth to?
Age of 6.
6, yes, the video talks about the age of birth, from birth to 6. Others say it lasts until pre-adolescence, adolescence, right? So there is no exact agreement. Yes, for example, until 12, 13, around that age. And that is when mostly students in secondary school, middle school, high school, when they learn at that time, they already start behaving more like adults, trying to learn rules or try to remember in rules. Being successful, but not as natural as Barbara was saying with the children. So all of this crashes a little bit with what we have been discussing in real classes when children are taught English, but in Spanish. And therefore, they are learning for certain. They learn something, though we might probably lost that time, that period of time in which they could learn more naturally, as Barbara was saying. But there is not much we can do since we don't have full access to the time to develop the language with these children. We do not have a whole week of class or the whole 2 hours per week in the morning, for example, to teach them, to expose them more to the language. And so this is a situation in which we live, but probably we could make more better use of this ability children have. But we have the limitations of our situation, and that's it. We have to try to do our best. So your next task, so we'll start at the end. The next task will be in pairs. So this is the end. Let us say the final result is that you use all the information from the silent period, and you have to go back to task 1. Yes, so go back to task 1 and all these resources to find a way to put information together visually. And you have this, I found this website, which can be very useful because I was thinking of the most common visual display is, it can be a poster or an infographic. And you have already done that. So I was trying to think of other options. And this website offers other options. So not only infographics, but also other tools. So see, most of them will be around the idea of infographics, yes, but probably with something more creative. And you have, for example, the picture chart or the easily, different ways to create, or ideas to create your visual presentation. So working groups, if you are already working with the people in your group in the practicum, you can do that. And think how it could be useful for teachers to receive this information, useful for them to think, to reflect on how we can take advantage of the research done in this area, on the information we already have about the critical period and how children can learn easily at this time of life. So do you understand now the final result? It's a visual display. Do you understand this?
Yes, I understand.
Okay, so it's about that final result. Yes, it's a visual display, como una presentación visual, but it can have different formats, and platforms. Okay, so you will find that there, and you're free to choose your partners to work. But so it's not very long. Task 2 is not long, and going backwards from the final point, you will have to analyze. So this the outcome here is elaborate oral and written texts. At this level, we are working with more complex texts. So you're reading text of different kinds of complexity. Some of them are more complex. Some others are more of general information display and general access. but all of them really have a higher level of English proficiency, require a higher level of English proficiency, and that's why we were working with them. And also, whenever you write, you are improving a lot in writing. This is the practice that we are doing. So it's about teaching and learning, and this helps us develop Standard 9, which talks about our professional development. Es el desarrollo profesional, ¿verdad? De nuestra tarea. Okay, so in here you will discuss again the topic of critical period and the relationship to your own experiences. So this is a general brainstorming. And you will concentrate on the case of an extreme case of a child and the learning of her first language, yes, and the relationships made between her case and the development of the concept of it's not the silent period, but the critical period. Do you know the story about Ginny? ¿Conocen la historia de Ginny? Probably you're too young.
For me, no, miss.
No? Okay, so she was probably when I was your age. It was more talked about because it was nearer in time. She was, even before I was born, the case occurred of a person who was deprived from social contact and language, apart from other kinds of neglect. Neglect is abandono. So this girl, of course, as a consequence, did not learn language. And researchers had, when she was found and helped by social services in the United States, this opened the world to analyzing, to researching what happens with language and human beings that are not able to develop language just because they're not exposed to language. So this is an extreme case of a child who didn't learn to speak her own language, her L1. And if you go back to the previous presentation, you will also see Lenneberg, yes, the presentation about Lenneberg and how they had already started analyzing about learning a first language and how important it was to expose children to richer environments in language. Just because of this limitation, yes, go back to Lenneberg about the discoveries of learning their first language. And since then, lots of research has been done with families with different social economical status in the United States, trying to predict how are these children from different families with richer or poorer linguistic environments in the development of their children, abilities to finish elementary school, for example, or higher levels of education. So I think this is a great, applies, as you see, to also other languages, and how important it is that from school we support that work of the families to surround their children with rich environments, linguistic environments, among others, yes, and learning environments. Okay, so you will have a video about Ginny's life and a reading. Reading about her life and or the situation of Ginny and how her case was used to advance in research in the critical period. Yes, the critical period. Sorry, I was absent-mindedly writing. So this was the critical period. Okay, so everything is related to the critical period, since it's an extreme case, but it will help us think on how we can relate that to children not only learning Spanish, but also probably also learning a second language in a way that probably will not be as profitable, yes, because our children will learn something, but will always be like at a point in which they cannot continue learning, yes, if we don't take advantage of this ability they have, this natural ability they have. So some questions for reflection and your infographic. And think how you can make this display or infographic or whichever other platform useful for teachers. Yes, how would you not only think of your students, but also your colleagues? How would you recommend as much as possible the creation of this environment in English? And those that did the module with me last year, creating an environment in English, we discussed this and we saw examples. We read about valuable examples on how to create these environments which are so important if we want to support this learning process. Anything that you remember about those times of creating an environment is valuable. So anyone who would like to share? So we saw how rich some environments could be from nothing really, with no resources. So this could be done, this place could be done in rural schools, very small schools, or very big ones, urban schools, in which resources were of varied classes and origins, but they try to support the learning of children. So is that clear? Is the task clear? I think it's creative. You don't have to, it's not very long. It is short. The case of Jeannie is just as an example of how extreme situations can be when we are not exposed to language at the right moment by our surroundings. It's just a case study. It is like a flagship. It's like a paradigmatic case. Es un caso paradigmático de la falta de exposición a la lengua nativa, ¿no? a la lengua materna. So that's only as background knowledge for you. It's an extremely sad situation of this girl, but it helped researchers learn a lot about linguistic development of human beings. So that's why the case of her is studied all over the world. Also, teachers, students, pre-service teachers in the United States also reflect on the case of Jeannie, because as I said, it's paradigmatic. Es un caso paradigmático, único, quasi único en el mundo. All right. Any question about what you need to do? Questions?
No,
questions?
miss.
No, okay, so this will be published in the forum. Okay? The display. Yes? Questions?
This task is for today?
No, it will be for next Friday. Next Friday we will revise.
Okay.
Yes, it's one from one to the next week. Yes, remember task 1 is finished. Okay, if not, we will be in trouble. So try to finish number 1, please. Try to finish. And I will show you. Well, I have, I think, the Spanish version, but anyway, I used to have the English version. I was translating. But the rubric for the participation will be also along the lines of what we saw last year. So you have to make your comments related to the topic. You have to write an amount of words, 250 maximum. Remember, we are trying to express as much as we can in English. And what else are we doing? You are commenting on 2 classmates, and you need to be concrete in your comments. Try to relate to what your classmate has done well, what can be improved, what do you think, what is your opinion about the topic. Remember, you are all talking about some topic. And the topic here is the critical period for learning a language. So if you focus on that, that will be okay. Your participation will be okay. So I'm trying to open the rubric, which is a Word document like this. So it will be here. So the quality of reflexive description. So this is what you post that refers to the topic, but it includes all the elements. So as much as you have read and know about the topic. You have the quality of the comments to your classmates. So you talk to your classmates about you also comment on your practicum experiences, and that's also important in your reflection on your post. But also you talk to your classmates about the topic, yes, and you demonstrate knowledge, yes, acceptance of your classmates' opinions, and also knowledge of the topic you are dealing with. You have two comments, and the written is referred to your writing, that you respect sentences, something we have to revise. We will also revise in the other module, writing sentences, trying to be clear, trying to look for the words that we need as much as possible. There are dictionaries online. And if something it has lots of mistakes, means I cannot understand what you're writing. Yes, so I don't think we are at that level, but always there is a room for improvement in how we express our ideas. Okay, so it's not very difficult. It will be just acceptable, and you are in other modules in which we are also already supporting the idea of writing in better ways, the best we can to express our ideas. Okay, so remember this, these tasks go to the portfolio. Yes, we will discuss next week what you did, your infographics, your displays, posters, whatever you like. So the peers will have your time to discuss this and show what you did and why you chose the information you chose to include there. And the forum postings. Remember your postings up to 250 words, and that's also included, of course, in your tasks, whenever you develop your tasks. And you also comment to your colleagues up to 200 words. Yes, of course, I'm not counting word by word, but you cannot just offer your classmates one line. Yes, we already talked about this last year. You cannot just say, your infographic is great. No, that's not a comment for a forum. Yes, you need to refer to the topic. You need to refer to some kind of knowledge you have, everything that is related to the topic of the week. Yes, of this part of the course, of the module. Okay, any questions about this? About this participation?
Miss, I write to you in the chat.
Okay. Okay, chat question.
The next task.
Yes, but that's the other module. The other module, not this one. Liselda, are you okay?
Today is Practica.
Yes. Yes. I think we need to change this timetable, girls, because this time of the week we are out. We are out. We are not productive anymore. All right. So what are 3 things we learned today? What do you remember? What we revised from 2 weeks ago, in which we were very disconnected at a certain point? Come on. We learned or we revised.
Today, Miss?
Yes.
We share the experience about the too. Practice.
Yeah, practicum, yes.
Yeah.
So that would be a part of our class, experiences, developments, if we go forward, if we go backwards, if we are not progressing, all of this is part of the module as well. We share our experience about the practicum. Yes. Something we revised from before, even if there are no new things, but just revision. We revised. Probably, tal vez no es algo nuevo, pero revisamos
The
algo.
critical period.
Yes, yes, knowledge about the critical period. And the questions. And remember, questions are always useful on how we want to also help our students reflect or think or answer. Yes, so how we think of questions is
Teacher,
important.
you are not share the
Sharing.
screen.
Okay. Sorry, that can happen. It's here. So that is we share that, and then
No, yes.
two things you would like to learn. We want to learn more about the critical period, because this time the critical period, because the next task is what you already reflect, what you think is the most important to share with your colleagues, with future teachers or with other teachers about the critical period. So it's not only repeating information from the different articles or websites or different forums, but it is about your elaboration in this display. Okay, so you go a step forward. You communicate, yes? How to communicate about the topic. Okay, questions or anything else you want to learn? Anything else? Questions or anything else you want to learn about the topic?
Why is important understand the critical period as a person that study a second language?
Yes, why is it? Excellent. Why is it important to understand? Yes. Understand the critical period about the critical period for future teachers, and this is for teachers in general, because you will see the case of Jeannie, you will see also the cases of different levels of situations even being different. Also, yes. Genesis, yes. Yes, you include tasks in the portfolio. Yes. The tasks in the portfolio. Also, you will see how important it is for teachers also developing the mother tongues, because some of our students will come from different backgrounds. And we need to support, as I was saying some minutes ago, you need to support that environment for learning for your children. Yes, and how much they learn at school is also crucial. It's very important also to support this learning process in the critical period and beyond. Yes, for future teachers of a second language, of a foreign language or a mother tongue. Do not forget foreign or first language. And you will see with the case of Jeannie, you will see in the case of the first language, how it is important to support language. Yes, all right. Okay, next class is on the 16th. Of course, educandos, all the materials are on educandos. The forum This forum is called, I was thinking of a title, but I think it's the title of the task. Developing something like that about the critical period. So developing one step forward about the critical period, not repeating, yes, but you're elaborating. Yes, that's the verb I was thinking. Elaborating on the critical period. Yes, one step forward. Okay, you are making connections. Now you're creating, putting all your experiences and your knowledge together. Yes, elaborating on the critical period. Oops, right, why? Elaborating on the critical period. All right, check other important documents to complete your tasks. Yes, if there are any other. We did this, this is task 1. If you haven't finished it, please finish. And for next class, be ready to discuss your understanding, yes, about the critical period. And why it is important. This question that Barbara asked. Why it is important. You will answer that question. Okay. Then with mentor teachers, we will continue the same with practicum. To your practicum timetable. Remember, we cannot take the time from other modules. I don't want to have problems with other professors. Sometimes you're very excited and you want to do this video, but try to not to take time of other professors, please. So pay attention to your practicum work, meetings, and always remember on Monday you send a message to the group so the teachers activate and start thinking on your work for that week. Yes? Do we agree?
Yes, miss. Yes, miss.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
A message to the WhatsApp groups. Remember, WhatsApp groups. And do not get discouraged. We also need to guide our mentor teachers on which time we can communicate and how much time we have to work on these tasks. So sometimes it's not the whole day. So, and send a message to WhatsApp groups to activate the work for the week. And also remember the timetable, the schedule. I will send a new schedule, complete the schedule. Complete the schedule of this week with the activities finished this week, and then we will complete a new one for next week on Monday, I think, because we are like behind. ¿Sí? Estamos un poco atrasados, pero no importa. Completen de esta semana con lo que hicieron y el lunes ya con las nuevas tareas completan el de la semana que viene. Complete the schedule each week. And when things go smoothly, you can by Friday probably be already ready with the things you need to do for the next week. If not, on Monday, it's okay. Monday or Tuesday. All right, and keep a track of your activities. Keep all your activities, videos, save them in your laptops. So have all your materials, please. They are also important. And questions and answers or anything, any doubts? ¿Alguna duda, preguntas? Oh my gosh, I can't change this letters, this writing. Okay, any questions?
No by my side, but I don't know if my classmate have.
Yes,
that.
okay. Anyone,
no,
questions?
no question.
Okay, so thank you. Thank you for attending, participating, and be ready to work next week. And keep up the good mood. If we are sleeping next Friday, then we change classes to 6 o'clock in the morning. Now we will be sleepy as well. Don't worry. Okay, we bring some tea, something to eat, and we keep awake. Okay, girls, nice to see you. If you don't have anything else to ask, you're okay. I will see you
Bye, Miss.
next week.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. So, and upload your task or copy your task to the portfolio, please.